Um, Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. This is Pooja, and I'm a part of Code Ground. So, in today's session, we're going to discuss the know how of hiring talent across various positions in an organization. This webinar will be the second part in the two-part series. So, in the first part, we kind of discussed technical, marketing, and top managerial roles. So, something is up in the labor market. Across the country, CEOs and HR professionals keep telling the exact same story. They have a lot of jobs sitting open and can't find anyone to actually hire. We assume all this is not really from a lack of not trying. As employers struggle to hire, the reason for this struggle boils down to various factors ranging from wages to mismatched talent, etc. So one bad hire is the in the wrong role can really change a company for the worse. So in the end of the day, recruiting is an extremely high risk endeavor. Buying a house, you can get an engineer to come and look at the foundation. Buying a car, you can take it to a mechanic who can kind of gauge the product for you. But people as a commodity have so many soft skills that are actually intangibles. It's very different to know what someone can actually contribute to an organization until after they're in it and working. The process is only made exponentially harder by the lack of available talent today. So we'll try and fight this one position at a time. As we go on with our presentation, you can feel free to raise any queries or type in your suggestions and inputs. We'll have our talent acquisition head answering the questions at the end of the presentation. You can also get in touch with us after the webinar and we'll be happy to cover anything that hasn't been talked about today. Let's try and keep the session for about 45 minutes. So let's just get down to business. On the agenda today is a discussion on finding the right fit for your organization, starting right from clerks to the CEOs. Finding the right employee for a particular job requires an effective system that not only really acquires the right employees to build the very foundation of your organization, but also sets the new employee up for a smooth transition into the new workplace. For this, we'll discuss recruiting right from sourcing, assessing to retention. What we did is we actually tackled the webinar in two parts, as we said. This is due to the sheer volume of information that we have. We covered technical, marketing, and top managerial roles in the previous webinar. We're going to be discussing sales, customer service, and clerical roles for this presentation. According to a recent survey, the ratio of job seekers to job openings have been sinking for years, most recently hitting a 1.4 job seeker to every job opening. Yet, finding talent is increasingly hard. With the supply of labor and the number of job openings approaching parity, finding talent can feel like hitting a bullet with a bullet. So, not every industry shares these struggles equally. And as many employers have pointed out to us, it's simply harder to hire for some skills than others. So, why is it that no one size fits all? Effective recruitment strategies are a pivotal aspect of procuring and retaining high quality talent to contribute to your organization's success. Methods for sourcing varies heavily based on the position and the required skill sets. Develop a better and a more fitting strategy for recruiting. These have to be extremely specific, and you can do this from places like CodeGround's recruitment portal, etc. The technique behind every method typically outlines the specific recruitment channels that will be used for each process. So before we actually get down to business, let's just do a quick rundown of the first part of the webinar that we had on sourcing, assessment, and retention of technical, marketing, and top managerial roles. A quick recap. In the previous webinar, we dealt with pain points and solutions. Hiring talent, real talent, is a multifaceted skill that lies on the crossroads of social networking, technical acumen, process management, and intuition. We spoke about the most crucial skill sets required, some tips on sourcing, the best suited sourcing strategies, methods of assessing candidates, and finally, tips on retention. You can find the entire webinar session recorded on our website, and you can find the link here. Part 2. So the roles that we're going to be going through in this presentation are sales, BPO and call center executives, and clerical roles. Sales roles. So obviously when it comes to hiring salespeople, you only want to recruit salespeople who are either in the top performing category already or have the potential somewhere inside to get there. The question that begs to be answered in this is, what really separates the high achievers from the mediocrity of the masses? How can you determine if whether the smooth talker in front of you is actually your future star performer? Sales roles. So to begin with, we'll discuss some of the skills required in a top performing sales executive for your organization. Human relations. Sales candidates must build intimacy and trust so that the customer shares the details of the business with them and in general, warm up to them as such. Human relations start right from the very first contact itself. Ability to combat objections. So it's extremely important the candidate has the ability to keep the prospect's concern out on the table as early as possible, all the while being careful not to argue, get defensive, or score points while handling them. Communication. A critical sales skill is to make sure that you communicate concisely. Buyers subconsciously value how information is presented in front of them more than the information itself. Knowing your product and service. So a good salesperson knows the in and out of your product extremely well. Customers are interested to know all the possible solutions that a product has to offer. Because you can really convince someone to buy only if you yourself are convinced about it. A positive attitude. A salesperson needs to be persistent and have an extremely positive attitude. He or she should have the attitude of never giving up something easily. The person should understand that a sales job is not really an easy task, and smiling and taking a no should be imbibed in the candidate. A presentation style. Sales pros need to be comfortable presenting their offerings across several mediums. One idea is to actually be very striving about it. The trick is to keep the presentation shorter, simpler, and most effective. Throwing in buzzwords at the appropriate time is a great skill to look out for. Problem solving. Great salespeople are always great problem solvers. The ability to hone in on what the buyer's problem is and offering suggestions that will effectively solve the issue with respect to what product or services they're selling generally results in a great sale. A listening ability. So a salesperson needs to be a proficient in active listening and not just hearing, active listening. So listening with a strict focus and asking intelligent follow-up questions, leading your listeners are extremely crucial skills for a great sales professional. Demo skills. So a demo or a pitch is critical to starting any sales process. Sales representatives need to know not only that there should be a great understanding of the product, but must be able to show off its capabilities to a prospect effectively through a demo, better said in a form of a story. So revenue and recruitment often go hand in hand. You don't really drive sales without having the right people in place. Posting a job online and hoping for applicants may be the easiest sourcing strategy, but it's not often the most effective, especially if it's the only method a manager is using to recruit. To drive immediate interest and build a robust candidate pipeline, candidates are best served by developing a variety of sourcing strategies. So here are a few to get you started. Hosting personal recruitment events. So instead of leveraging other companies' public recruitment events, why not really create your own open house? If you need to hire multiple candidates, but you have a lack of time or resources to interview, hosting events will allow you to interview various candidates in a matter of a single day and possibly even start rolling out offers. Internal candidate database via ETS. So if your company has their own applicant tracking system, you're actually sitting on a treasure box, a real gold mine of potential candidates and referrals. You just have to continuously dig your CRM for customer related data and routinely drop warm emails and follow ups. You could also, reach out to previous applicants through your ATS. And if any candidates really turns down a job offer, you might still have potential from them because they could always come up with great referrals for you. College and alumni networks. So, for companies that regularly recruit entry to mid level talents, college or educational networks are an excellent candidate source. To make the most out of this, you can start building relationships with your local colleges. Many colleges offer great benefits in the form of access to the alumni networks, job postings, resume books, and on campus presentation opportunities, etc. For a fee, sometime you may even be able to attend their on campus recruitment events as well. Encourage internal referrals. So it's really very important to reach out to your team members internally to explain the value of referrals. And it is one of the best way to lure strong candidates any day in the end. So why is this? That's because internal sales team members already have a great feel for the company's culture and expectations. They can more accurately bring potential candidates that know to fill the relevant vacant roles. And talking on the flip side, all these employees can be served as your company's biggest advocates. Not only will they understand the company's sales landscape, they will help your organization come across as a more relatable and a trustworthy place to be working in. Register your sales team members for networking events. So, what happens is professional networking events bring in like minded individuals who aren't just looking to network but are also looking to grow their knowledge base and skill sets. And these are the type of individuals most companies are seeking for. So, keep an eye out for these events in your local areas and be proactive. That's extremely important. So this is the way you can have potential candidates all at your fingertip and also be able to engage with them in person. And if you're lucky enough, you may as well even end up with a few referrals from candidates who are fitting your profile. Sales roles, retention. Let's look at these retention tips required to actually try and keep those gem of a candidates that you spend countless hours looking for. Training. So, training your employees can actually strengthen their sense of value. Through proper training, employers assist and thus can help employees achieve their own goals. All this while ensuring that they have a strong understanding of their job requirements as well. Mentoring. A strong mentoring program incorporated with a goal oriented feedback system provides a structured execution for developing strong relationships within an organization. This also is a concrete foundation for employee retention and their growth. Bringing in a positive work culture. So, a company that creates the right environment will always have an advantage when it comes to attracting and keeping the great performers. Providing growth opportunities. An organization, when providing free workshops, training sessions, or other tools to help increase an employee's understanding of their own growth, is always an advantage. This will provide them with a clarity on what they want from their careers and enhance their employees' goal oriented scope. Make employees feel valued. Employees will always go that extra mile if they feel that they're responsible for the results of the work or if they have like a sense of self-worth in their jobs. They believe that their jobs make good use of their skill sets or they acquire recognition for their contributions. Encourage referrals and recruit from within. Current employees can realistically describe a position and the situation to the individuals he or she is referring. So, another way an employer can really decrease the impact of a turnover is to hire from within the organization. Remember, current employees have already revealed that they're a good fit for the organization. That's cutting down your risk by several folds. Sales frauds. Here's an industry example for you. Let's look at what Hudson RPO did to help streamline a recruitment function for an entertainment giant. So this was a challenge. So during the US economic recession, entertainment superstar entertainment groups turned to Hudson PRO for a for a sales team recruitment solution to help enable their goals and objectives. So at the first sign of recovery, the company called upon Hudson to help rebuild the recruiting infrastructure. So what happened in the form of results was that Hudson worked with their clients' applicant tracking system, capturing candidates' data and building the client's database for future candidate recruitment needs. They also facilitated nearly 30 high performance new hires in less than 3 months by implementing an extremely well streamlined recruitment process between the corporate HR and the local HR teams. A BPO or a call center is an important arm of any organization. However, unfortunately, it has the highest turnover rate. Recruiting the appropriate people for your call center involves so much more than posting a small ad in the local newspaper and hoping for good candidates to actually come calling. So, next we are going to discuss what the sourcing and retention tips are, along with some sourcing strategies for a great BPO executive. Let's begin with the skill sets required for a high performing call center executive. Communication skills. Call center employees answer hundreds of calls every week, and they must track these calls by documenting the nature and the resolution of the call. This makes it essential that they're able to listen and communicate with a variety of callers on a variety of issues and provide customer service at the same time. Multitasking. The employee should be able to take calls, interpret tracking systems, and figure out the best resolution for the candidates at the same time. Analytical skills. A BPO representative must be a problem solver by nature. One must have the aptitude to analyze a problem and find the best solution in a very timely manner. Detail oriented. Every job requires attention to details. However, in a call center, it's magnified because one mistake can give a new dimension to a problem. Poor documentation could lead to replica of work, and this will, make the future training processes extremely tougher. Punctuality. PPO reps are under extreme inspection when it comes to punctuality. Untimeliness and absenteeism is extremely not entertained. They have very little scope when it comes to tardiness. Positivity. So while dealing with the clients, the representatives should be, with a very positive attitude and enthusiastic towards their approach, while dealing with problems for better customer satisfaction. Language proficiency. So many BPO firms often have an international client base. Hence, it will be useful during recruitment to search for job candidates with good language skills. Candidates should not only have a good command of the national language, but perhaps have to be bilingual as well. Sourcing tips. Let's run you through some sort of sourcing tips, to successfully source candidates for a call center's profile. Study and assess the current top performing agents within your organization. Develop an ideal agent profile and detail out the qualities. skills, and attributes that matches your company's profile and communicate the same with your HR recruiter. Sit down with the HR coordinator and communicate the needs and the expectations of your company. Ensure that he or she understands the company's environment and the agent's performance expectations as well. Utilize competency based assessment tools to evaluate and assess a candidate right from the hiring process itself. This tool should be chosen extremely wisely to make sure that they can assess the personality traits as well as the skills of the agent to make him a very productive and an essential part of the organization. Conduct the initial interview of the candidate in whichever channel the agent has been hiring. So for example, if he is being hired to handle customers or business patrons over phone calls, then what we recommend is that the initial interview should be done over the phone as well. So, actually, while the concept of finding people have become much easier in the recent years, finding right people have become extremely challenging. Finding all of them together has become even more harder. So, as such, knowing how to effectively source talent is now more important than ever before. So, here are a few strategies to get you through this. Referral bonus programs. Your top employees will most likely have a circle of friends who are similar to them in education and ambition. Create a referral bonus program where the employees are encouraged to bring in candidates that they feel are suited for your organization. In return, they'll be provided with a great bonus on every successful hire. Social media and community management. Ensure that your company's LinkedIn page is up to date and is regularly updated. This reflects your company's culture. Let prospective candidates immerse themselves in your company's culture even before they get a chance to apply. This will keep them hooked right from the start. Don't forget video publicity. You can have someone create a recruiting video in which your current employees can talk or give short sound bites, etc. This is a great way to showcase your organization to the world. Online advertising and classifieds. Recruiters still need to advertise positions, online, offline, or even both, depending on their target audience. So rather than shifting through hundreds of resumes, work with job sites to set up preliminary screening questions or use a video interviewing program during the candidate's application intake process to manage the giant client candidate flow. Community recruitment. Post paper flyers everywhere within like a 5 mile radius of your organization with contact centers to grab those passive job seekers. Post flyer places like gas stations, coffee shops, grocery stores, workforce centers, community centers, and anywhere else that you can think of where your target audience and people such congregate. Job services and workflow centers, unemployment centers, etc. So almost every community has a non-profit. This means that they would like to help people improve their skills and gain employment. Get in touch with these organizations in your area. Get to know the job counselors and keep them aware of your vacancies. This way you also feel like you're giving back to the society. Contact local workforce centers or unemployment offices and ask what can be done to be more visible to those who are job hunting. Staffing firms. Staffing firms are an excellent source of jobs and people, especially if you're looking to hire in huge masses for call centers. They hire thousands of employees every year. They also have recruiting budgets and media partnerships to conduct effective, targeted advertising drives and marketing campaigns. So we do understand, that assessing candidates for a job PPO is, not as complicated as other fields, but it's nonetheless crucial. Assessing the candidates that your top agents possess. assessing the qualities that your top agents possess, actually. Develop an ideal agent profile that encompasses the skills, attributes, and behaviors that are required of a successful call center agent. Understanding the environment. Make sure that the recruitment staff completely understands the call center's working environment and the agent performance expectations. Invite your staff to actually go spend some time in the call center. A competency based assessment tool. Use a competency based assessment tool as a part of your hiring process to evaluate your candidates more effectively. Niche interviewing. So, performing the initial job interview in the channel for which the agent is being hired for. So, for example, if an agent is being hired to handle phone calls, the initial screening, it makes more sense if it is done over the phone as well. Use behavioral based interview questions. So, ask candidates to provide very specific examples of a time in their previous jobs where they've demonstrated abilities and skills in handling situations that were they required of them to encounter, where they were required to showcase any kind of skills that will be very crucial in their job as a call center employee with their organization. So here are some useful tips on how to staff call center positions with candidates who are most likely to stick around. Employee retention. Star of the month, top performers, pictures on bulletin boards, appreciation cards and certificates, etc. increase employees' morale and their very confidence. This is a great way to retain employees of a call center. Conducting exit interviews. This is important because most employees would like to reveal the true reason for quitting the jobs, as long as they're in their organization and associated with the job. Hire the right people. Retention starts with the recruitment itself. Identify the characteristics of the people you want to hire. Conduct stay interviews. So what happens is, those who want to actually try and find out what makes them stay. It will be handy in knowing what the strength of your organization is while you're attracting fresh talent itself. Training and development. Create a clear path of progression for your employees combined with adequate training opportunities to develop their skills and progress. Effective communication. Managers and supervisors need to actively create a rapport with their employees, taking time to be friendly and engaging at the same time. Identify actions that make employees feel appreciated. Having employees mention the recognition or acknowledgements that they have received determines of what will make them feel more committed and loyal to your company. So here's a quick, case study that you can look at of what Outsourced to India did for their client. So their BPO division was delivery focused and required extensive handholding on the BPO platform management, and the turnaround time needed to be improved. This was for a leading IT service organization. The solution was Outsourced to India provided the customer with a team who had the expertise in Oracle and other platforms and operating systems. They set up a support operations center with voice, email, and internet infrastructures, along with remote environment to sustain the customer's operations. The result was that the customer had been extremely satisfied with the BPO service. Many performance issues faced by the clients had been resolved. This led to a very significant increase in the productivity of the customer. So here are a few basic skills that anyone interested in, hiring for a clerical role needs to know. They are also essential for every entry level positions in your organizations, regardless of the field. If you're looking to hire for a candidate as a data entry clerk, a receptionist, an administrative assistant, or anything on those similar lines, make sure that the candidates have these basic skills under their belt. Multitasking. attention to details, dependability, professionalism, prioritizing, great memory and follow ups, efficiency in handling documents and correspondence, appointment scheduling and filing, assisting others and directing visitors, data entry, excellent telephonic etiquettes, ability to plan and organize work to meet deadlines, and highly skilled in greeting employers and visitors. At a first glance, your job sounds simple enough. However, hiring for these roles can be quite a tricky endeavor. Here are a few sourcing strategies to help you for a smooth hiring process. You can use online hiring platforms such as asanjobs.com, etc. Referral programs, walk-in interviews, advertisements and classifieds in local newspapers, flyers in the locality, employment centers and offices. So, clerical role retention ideas and tips. So, here we're going to discuss a few to jazz up your work culture to better retain your candidates. Appreciate and recognize a well done job. Personalized, well done, and thank you cards from superiors can be a great perk. Voicemails or messages from top management. Periodic day offs for good performance. Rewards, recognizing professionals as well as personal significant events such as wedding gifts, and you can have newborn baby gifts, scholarships for employees' children, providing perks and benefits of insurance plans, discounts, etc., personal loans for emergencies, employee assistance programs, counseling sessions, etc., celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, having some sort of retirement perks, promotions, etc., occasional holidays, gift certificates, etc. And you could even organize a small get together and make them feel included in your organization. So we have discussed a lot of what to do and what to look for. What we're going to do here is look for certain signs that are warnings, what not to have in a candidate. So if you've ever recruited the wrong person or had the rotten luck to inherit another person's bad hire, then we take it that you understand the pitch and the true costs of a recruiting mistake. This means tons of time and energy spent dealing with the problem, and added to that, the overhead cost of not having the right hire to fulfill an urgent requirement rule. So we understand that no one actually avoids all the hiring mistakes, but there are some things that recruiters can practice and look for as warning signs that can help them be smart recruiters. Here are top 10 signs in candidates you as a recruiter should keep an eye out for. Not very enthusiastic and excitable. Watch out for candidates who don't have a dash of enthusiasm and who are not very motivated. Basically a low energy. Short and curt on details and a lot of missed connections. Someone's resume says they're good at something and that might not really turn out to be true. Hence, consider action-based interviews and scenarios. This way you can weed out the ones that don't walk the walk. Vague and overtly generic answers and very poor presentation and preparedness. Overly generic answers gives the sign that a candidate is hiding something or doesn't really have anything of value to add. Also, nothing shows disinterest more than an underprepared candidate. Something just doesn't seem right. So there are those days, their stories don't really match up to their resumes. They're hesitant to say things and keep stopping themselves mid-sentences or are, refacing and paraphrasing most of the times. Maybe their body language doesn't match their speech. Just keep an eye out for these signs. They don't follow through on little things and they say no a lot. People need to really set boundaries, and that is okay, as long as they're reasonable. Example, I won't answer emails after I leave the office, etc. The problem is, comes when the candidate has a will not do list, that, they that puts more limitations on the positions that you would like. They treat other employees they meet differently than they treat you. Now, some candidates will be extremely charming with whoever they perceive to be the hiring or the decision maker, but they show a very different attitude towards the others. This is a big no no. This is a giant turn off, not only for a person as a candidate, but as an individual itself. They aren't aligned with the organization's values. To spot this one, you, as a recruiter, first need to be extremely clear about your organization's values. You can't shake a gut feeling that the person isn't right for the job. Ask 10 hiring managers about bad hires they've made, and at least 9 will tell you that they ignored a bad gut feeling during the hiring process. So when your instincts are, setting off the alarm bells, pay attention. You're not really sold, but you figure that this is the best you can really get. So remember, if you're not fully sold on any candidate at the end of the hiring process, you're far, far better off continuing to look for, even relaunching your whole search rather than hiring someone you think might not be right. So, hence, the bottom line is that to make sure that you make the best use of your time at the beginning of the hiring process, don't simply focus on discovering the strongest candidate. Try to also spot and weed out the weakest ones. So, what we've done today is we've discussed a lot of things, and to make it easy for you as a recruiter, we have come up with a very, very doable list of action items to get you thinking and kickstart a very successful recruitment process. So, here goes. Understand the current scenario for your organization, look at your attrition rate, your retiree risk, talent review processes, a succession plan, etc. Identify gaps and come up with strategies for filling those gaps in your recruitment plan. Identify your sourcing channels, referral programs, campus, industry association, user groups, social networking sites, open houses on campuses, whatever you have to do, go all out and do it. Identify sources to target with clearly defined posting and sourcing strategies in place. Build a strong talent community. Set up a strong pipeline of candidates in your applicant tracking system. Also attract and hold the community's attention. And remember, finally, the lines of communication are always both ways. The golden rule is that you can talk to me about anything and everything. This will, help foster an office environment built on mutual respect and trust. Also, track and report on the effectiveness of recruiting, interviewing, and hiring initiatives. You can get some of the best lessons you've ever learned from your past. So, what we are going to do here is we're going to take questions and we have Saurabh answer them for you. So, I'm going to give this over to Saurabh Chawla to take it forward. I'm sorry, there's like a small issue here. I'm just checking in if he is available for you. All right, so there's been a small emergency and a technical issue from our end, and we can't get Saurabh through. But thank you all for your questions, and what we'll do is we'll have him answer them and personally email it to you. And if you have any other questions that you couldn't think of right now, you can always, email it to us. And also, we have this small request from you all, and this should not take too much of your time. We are going to be sending across a small feedback to you, either in the form of a document or we'll have someone from our team call you, and it'll be great if you can take a few minutes off and give us your valuable feedback. What this do for us is it'll help us improve the quality of the information that we put forward for your. Um, so, um, so we hope that you found this webinar useful, and we're now open to questions and anything that you need from from your end, and then we will be there to do it for you. So, thank you all for participating, and feel free to contact CodeCrown for any doubts or recruitment needs. Have a great day and happy recruiting.